All right. Okay. We're back. We are back. Wait a second. I don't know if my voice is correct or not. Okay. I thought I accidentally hit my voice changer and I was on like that high-pitched banana voice, but we are not. We are here. Well, some of us are here. Poor Brenda. Poor Brenda. She's out. She's up with family. They're having some family, health concerns with different parts of her family. She's gone to help take care of some of the kids, to kind of help out. So she's being a grandma, which is great. But we are here, and we're doing this. So, Crystal's with me. It is November 25th. I think Thanksgiving is just around the corner. In fact, probably a lot of people aren't even tuning in because of that. Maybe you're out and about doing your own thing, and you're like, I don't have time for some home education podcast. That's fine. It's quite all right. Although, before we begin, I have to do this. We always do this. I skipped it by accident. I'm a little off my game today. It's been a weird morning. So thank you to our top sponsors, Arete, FPEA, Fisher Precious Metals. You guys make this possible. Not doing this without you, so we're really appreciative that you're here with us and supporting us. Without further ado, today's going to be kind of short and sweet. I think there's not a lot really right now to debate. There's a lot of conversations going on, things happening in the background, and as those develop more, we'll talk about them more. I think I would say the most important thing to do is kind of keep your conversations going over the holiday weekend. Or the holiday season rather. You'll meet a lot of people and be like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in a while. How have you been? Oh yeah, what are you up to these days?" It's really important. I mean, for us, it's a huge part of who we are and what we do is home education. So we're always talking about what the kids are doing these days and what they're into, and now they're doing this and now they're doing that, and it's a great time while you're doing that to maybe get some video footage, of them doing this or doing that and playing around with any of their stuff that they have, whether it's kits. I know some of our kids like to fly little drones or like do their, Chunky's always building things. And so just getting some of that background video, we call it B-roll, for the Tell Your Story project. This is such a big deal. This project is such a big deal. It's so important. It's such a big need right now. And we've got, we put up a few videos recently. Thank you, Katie Lane, for sending those in. We've been sitting on them for a while. We wanted to kind of release a set of videos, but I figured it's better to just go ahead and put them out there so people can have an idea of what's available. Oh my goodness, Brenda
Hi,
did
Brenda.
make it.
Hey.
Hello.
On my iPad, but for some reason it won't let me in. So I guess we just have to.
Oh, there you are. You're horizontal now. There it is. There we go.
Am I
Oh,
okay?
yes, you're fine. You're fine. We were just talking about the Tell Your Story project. And if you
Oh,
haven't seen them, I added the 2 new videos down to the bottom of the actual web page so they can be seen from there, and they play right directly from YouTube. They're on a YouTube playlist. They were on Facebook as well. So thank you, Katie, for sending those in. It was extremely helpful. And if you're having those holiday conversations, this would be a good time to, grab that camera and just record in vertical and tell a story about, the freedoms that you have home educating, what it's like, the impact that it's had. You're going to be telling that a lot to some of those family members who are like, yeah, you're homeschooling, so how's that going? So just, you'll have that rhythm and that repertoire, that conversation going, and then just, hit record at some point and send us something to work with. Because, working with the legislators, they still just don't fully know what homeschooling really, really looks like and is. And that is something that we're looking to overcome. And it's very easy for the media to kind of take things and run. I always say this a lot, but they take them and run with it. Wild stories. The more sensational, the better. And they don't mind painting anybody in a bad light. And if that's all people know of home education, that's all they know. So having some other videos that kind of show them really what it's like is very useful. Very useful. Nobody has to go viral or anything like that. We just We want to have a useful, bucket of videos to kind of show people who we are, what we're all about. Brenda, you made it.
Yeah,
Yay.
cold in the Northwest. Cold and rainy. I look
Oh,
forward to being home in Florida.
yeah. Man, we'd love to have you back.
Beautiful up here.
Sit
We're
by the fire pit.
surrounded by mountains with snow on the top, so the
Oh,
picture
that's cool.
gorgeous.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we were talking about today's going to be kind of short and sweet. We're just going to thinking of some holiday things that are useful around the holidays to kind of focus on and talk about, rather than diving into any of the issues today. We do have a call later on today where we'll do some of that. But today I just thought we'd keep it short and sweet. Anything in particular you want to tell people over the holiday break, or?
No, there's always things that you can have a teachable moment with your children. You just have to really look for them. And,
Hmm.
um, I think the holidays are time to build character in children.
Oh yeah, yeah. Character's so important. We get people, not to brag on our kids or anything, but we get people who compliment our kids a lot, and um, you know that's what we prioritize. We prioritize listening and character, critical thinking, and doing the right thing even when it's difficult. And I think that you can always cram facts down someone's throat later in life or at any point in the journey. But man, if you don't start it with character early on, it gets harder and harder to work it in. So we're very thankful for all the teachable moments that
We
we have with our kids.
we get so wrapped up in the holiday giving, getting, whatever, that
Hmm.
we really forget to focus on those characters of children,
Mm.
um, caring for older people, for
Mm.
out for the ones in the house that need help, and instead of children being totally focused on themselves, which we often do as adults, but training them in the way they should go, and just the little things they can do to help around the house and make things more fun for everybody if one person doesn't carry all the load.
Hmm. It's
It's
true.
important.
That's so true. Crystal, anything you want to add?
I mean, I think that was a great point.
Yeah.
We just kind of on a personal note, we recently had our parents move in with us. So this is going to be our first Thanksgiving where they're actually living with us rather than us, getting together at someone's house and then going back to our separate houses. So um, I think this is going to be a great opportunity for those character lessons where our kids are learning in a more sustained long term way to help out and to look for those opportunities. So, yeah.
We spent some time. I'm up here because my nephew is going in for cardiovascular surgery tomorrow. It's a really big deal, and
Mm,
he has four boys from ranging from 8 to 14, and we would just appreciate prayers for him and his
for
success
sure.
and quick recovery. It's like open heart surgery where they're gonna, crack open his chest, which is fun. But
Mm,
we did Thanksgiving early, and one of the things that we did was we went around the circle of about 15 or 16 family members, and everybody talked about what they were so grateful for. And we can often get focused on all the things that are wrong, but if we start looking for the things that are right,
hmm.
it's just amazing how grateful you can become. And so it was really a special time. It was before we stuffed ourselves with turkey and
Yeah.
all the
I
Thanksgiving foods.
We
was
have
listening.
a
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say we have a little glass jar that I set out a few weeks ago and it has sticky notes next to it for the kids to write things that they're grateful for as they think of them and drop them in. And we're
Mm,
planning to open it on Thanksgiving and read through them.
Oh,
So
that's a great idea.
hmm.
Because it doesn't always come to mind when you're sitting around in a circle with everybody waiting.
Yeah. 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 but now they could be little fortune cookies, like open them up. No, I was talking to the kids the other day, and uh, especially the young. We've got 13 all the way down to 5 now. Oh, he had a birthday. And emotional regulation between those different ages it varies at skill level. Let's just put it that way. So I often kind of coach them through how to deal with anger or how to deal with frustration or things don't go their way. They're upset about something. And it's something I don't know when I noticed it, but I just noticed it's really hard to be thankful and angry at the same time. Like if you're truly, genuinely thankful, it becomes very difficult to be angry. And kind of vice versa. You get caught down like that trail, that slippery slope of anger, it becomes very difficult to be thankful. And so I think that's why, like in the Bible, Paul, almost every single letter that he writes, he's like, but with all thankfulness. But with all thankfulness.
As
Because
he's in
he's
prison.
yeah, he's trying to help them. That's how you break when you're stuck in a rut and you're like, all of this is just find something.
Yeah.
Find something. Be thankful and build on it. And I'm thankful. I think I'm thankful, especially for you. I could talk about you all the time. I do talk about you all the time, actually. Your ears probably burn. It's keeping you warm in that cold weather, I think. I'm very thankful for you, Brenda. Many of the conversations I've had with people lately where they don't even know the rights that they have that you've helped work on over the years. And I grew up in Alabama, so I'm very familiar with a state where we didn't have them, like especially the FHSAA and playing sports and stuff like that, and the way that that is in Florida, we didn't have that at all. Uh, that growing up when I was homeschooling in the '90s and in Alabama, and it's something I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to be a part of all of these committees you keep throwing me at and into, and I really get to see like what you've really been doing over the last 40 years, and it's a lot, and my heart is big for you. I'm very thankful for everything that you've done. It's been great personal sacrifice, and I know that for sure. Um, so I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all that hard work that you've put in. So, and I'm thankful that you're gonna get to rest from it because you
I'm
know,
thankful that y'all are here.
yeah, yeah.
Real Thanksgiving. I've just been bragging and bragging on the job that you're doing and how
Oh,
comfortable I am turning it over. That's a hard thing when you have spent your life working on something and you walk away and then everything falls apart. And
mm,
I've really dreaded that somebody that, either nobody there to do it or somebody who doesn't understand the issues and aren't living the issues.
mm,
And, they could easily take a different viewpoint from the staunch position that we've had of leave us alone, give us our freedom, and not allowing the government to mandate how we homeschool our kids.
mm-hmm.
Um, so, compromise is easy
Yeah,
to pay out, but
yeah.
so you have to stand your ground. And it may not be popular, and people may be very aggravated with you, but I've always found that it's, you stand your ground, and sooner or later, if you can give them enough evidence, like the share your story project, if
Mm-hmm.
them evidence and they can see people that are investing in their children the way homeschoolers do and the outcomes of that investment,
Mm-hmm.
as our children are our best testimonies. And
Yes.
um, it helps to change their mind. I mean, in the early,
Mm-hmm.
or you couldn't give a legislator a cup of coffee without reporting it. um, we would have them over for dinner, and
Mm-hmm.
well behaved. They participated by just being there listening, and then they wanted to show and tell what we're doing in homeschooling because they were so excited about it. And the, that excitement translated to the legislators that we had over for dinner. And, we made friends and changed attitudes. I remember one senator, he wanted to strengthen the homeschool law, and he wanted the superintendents to, um, choose the evaluators. Um, and by the end of the evening, I had invited the evaluators over, the two teachers who had evaluated our children over the years. And by the end of the evening, his wife was saying, "We need to tell our son about homeschooling."
Yeah, yeah.
Just see,
It's interesting.
made all the difference. Parents can talk, 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 but when they
Hmm.
evidence in the children, it's just changes your mind. So
Absolutely.
that investment, the sacrifices that parents make, both financially and personally. I mean, they might love playing tennis 3 times a week, but they give it,
Hmm.
to invest in their kids. Later on, they may teach their kids to play tennis, but in the early years, it's a little challenging. Sometimes you're
Yes.
there all by yourself, and you think, "Oh, am I doing the right thing?" And let me encourage
Hmm.
thing.
Something that it's easy. We were talking about being thankful, and it's easy to get. I think it's easy to get caught in a sea of irritations or frustrations, and I know that I have plenty. uh, some of the things that irritate me are whenever I look at the work that you've done, and then I look at what people are saying about the Home Education Foundation and some of the Facebook groups, and I scratch my head. They're like, "Oh, they're giving up all of our freedoms now," and I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about or where you got that." It's interesting that your Facebook group is so closed and like impenetrable, but wow, like it's almost like it's not even true. You know,
Right,
it's not like it's not even true. I was gonna say it's like something else, and then just cut that statement off. It's not that it's like it's not true. It's not true, and it bothers me deeply. And it's easy to get lost in things like that. But then I remember people like Sue, and I see Rick, I see Sue in the chat here, and I'm like, okay, I'm thankful because Sue, those people that are champions, when they go that route, they go that distance for you, and they help echo out the things that are important. We need them too, and I know that Sue has been there over the years as well. Um, kind of like those people, those champions up beneath you, holding you up at times, and I'm thankful for all that I've seen that they've been doing, and I just heart goes out to them as well because that it creates a balance. I can choose which one to focus on, right? But it's really nice to have those people that I go, I know you're there. I know you're involved too. Um, how do we amplify that out? And I keep circling it back to the Tell Your Story project, but ultimately, like, it's a great way of participating in a way that helps us put stuff together that can be echoed out. Statements that can be shared, and words that can be spread, so that the messages, the truth of everything that's happening, can really, really resound. And I appreciate people like Sue, and Katie Lane is in our chat today as well. So uh, there's a lot to be thankful for. I think we're oftentimes in our culture we just don't slow down enough to really just pause on it and do that. That's one of the reasons why I love this time of year. I think that might be why Halloween is probably my favorite holiday, as it kind of begins. It's that kind of point where people start to come together as community. They dress up and paint their faces and run around, and their kids have activities together. And then very next thing is Thanksgiving, and they're all taking time to stop and be thankful and spend time with family. And just that last quarter end of the year, it kind of kicks it off. So anyway, I digress.
well, let's go back to the Facebook groups.
Mhm.
I find people really don't understand the legislative process, and
Sure.
they, newcomers, I should say, um, expect things to happen overnight because they have something that they want to accomplish. But it took 3 years for me to be able to get dual enrollment in place. And
Mm-hmm.
they have
Yeah.
to realize that you don't snap your fingers and suddenly, a law is changed.
Mm-hmm.
Build a lot of support, and you have to get a majority. And sometimes
Right.
things happen that you didn't anticipate. Like the first year,
Yep.
uh, my husband had just died, and I hadn't lobbied by myself, but I knew we needed a way to prove that our kids were at least equal to, if not superior to, the education that they were getting, kids were getting in a public school. And so the only route I could think of was to prove that they could um, function in college. And
Mm.
so I for dual enrollment, but by the time uh, we had taken a trip that we were doing national 4-H competition, and we got home, it was the end of August, and I started trying to think about how to do this. And um, all the bill slots were taken in the House,
Mm-hmm.
that even though we had supporters, we didn't have a bill slot, so we had to do it as an amendment.
I don't think people realize that there are such a thing as bill slots. I think like there's a limited number of bills that get to be able to be
House
entered.
in the House, they only can have 7 bills,
So yeah.
and and so their constituents are coming to them with problems, from environmental problems to whatever, any kind of regulations and stuff
Mm-hmm.
changed. So to get a sponsor that's willing to give up one of his bills for your issues sometimes is pretty.
Huge.
And so, you
Mm-hmm.
got to try to find another route to do it, which I did, but it was on the train, as they call it, where everybody's loading up the train with different cars, and
Yep.
sometimes uh, they're not issues that everybody agrees with, but they
Right.
couldn't pass. And so what
And
happened?
sometimes yours becomes a bargaining chip for something that someone else wants because they're humans with careers too, and they're trying to negotiate for who gets to go through the door first. And like if somebody becomes passionate about your project and they know that, they use that to then negotiate things that they want out of that. So if yours becomes a negotiating bill, it's almost bad.
Well, and with that particular year, the train got vetoed. So
Mm,
in it, that the
mm,
governor didn't like, and so your efforts all year long, in the stroke of a pen, vanished.
yeah.
You
And take
start
that.
all over the next year. Now we're not talking about a trip or two to the Capitol. We're talking about
Mm-hmm.
every time they're in committee and every time they're in session, you are up there trying to talk to people about the
Yeah,
issue and support for it. And it's super time consuming.
it is. It really
People
is.
realize what the process is like, and then they get frustrated because their one issue isn't, and I know
Isn't
I
taken care of quickly. Like
had
you were saying, walking it back to the beginning of part of your conversation, like that, I've heard often that it takes at least 3 years to get something to move from
sometimes
several different people.
it just depends on who's in leadership, what their
Mm,
priorities are,
mm,
um, who's in favor. That if you get a sponsor that's part of the leadership team or well connected, they get more of an ear. And that also happens if they're opposed to your issue,
mm-hmm,
which we've
mm-hmm,
experienced, in the last year.
mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah,
you
we'll be
got
on that again.
to overcome, and finding those supporters and those avenues that are going to get
Mm-hmm.
above somebody that's in leadership is pretty challenging. So it takes a lot of strategy, a lot of thinking, a lot of talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
A lot of talking.
my heart breaks. We've had three, I believe, issues with children trying to play sports at a
Mm-hmm.
school this year. And
Yes,
it's
they
not,
have.
they're not doing everything that we know to do, but sometimes, and I think that's what's going to happen, is we're going to have a change in the law,
Mm-hmm.
not we don't have the right, but because people aren't interpreting it.
That's right.
And
That's right.
it's going to be a minor change, but getting those few words in there to change the way
To
people,
eliminate the vagaries. Yeah.
right, right. It's going to take a lot of work, like three little words stuck in a
Yeah.
law
Yeah,
to
that's right.
address these. It's going to be challenging. You
It
have to
is.
write bill that is, what's the word? I have a germane,
Jermaine. Yeah.
germane to your issue, that
Mm-hmm.
the
You
sponsor
could amend it on.
allow what might become a controversial issue to his bill to agree to let you amend that on at some point.
Mm-hmm.
They wrap it into the bill before it gets drafted, so it's not a big deal. If it
Mm-hmm.
gets debated in committee and it's voted down, then you can't bring it up again.
Yeah.
So
And
just
that's one. It's 3 words. It's a huge issue, but it's one of like 12 things that we're working on. And what happened last year, or it's still this year. What happened earlier this year was was that we had some of the same agenda issues or the same agenda goals, and they all got pushed aside because we ended up fighting tooth and nail on one thing because
just
it was.
already had.
Mhm. Yeah. So there's a lot. I think you're right. I think some of the vitriol or some of the irritations and some of the Facebook posts and groups come from just not really being able to see. And that's one of the reasons why I want to do the podcasts as often as we do them, to kind of help people build that knowledge and undersee and see behind the scenes, like what is really happening and going on, and talk about the important issues. Because um, I mean, without good communication, I think a lot of this just goes completely unknown,
Right.
and there's no information anywhere on it. And I'm like, we can't let that be. So anyway, I'm thankful that you said yes to doing the podcast. You initially didn't want to, so I'm glad. Here we are. In the technology world. All in.
This is what, episode 66?
66.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can you believe that? Wow.
We've done a lot of talking.
That's
Hopefully a
true.
lot of educating.
That's true. That's true. On that note, I would be very thankful as well if there are any students out there who have a gift for technology, video especially. If they want volunteer hours, I discovered a problem that we have where somebody wanted a video, and I was like, I know we did a podcast on that, um, and I couldn't find the video. And I've been wanting to work with someone who could, volunteer and take the time to cut up some of our longer podcasts, cut the sections out that are single subject matter where we talk about that thing for about 10 minutes and just pull that video out and make it a separate video that we could upload. Um, I just I don't have the time to go through all the videos and cut them afterwards. And it would be a great volunteer project. Our marketing company, we work with videographers who we pay to do it. So that's a whole nother ball game. But if there are any up and coming, it's a skill set. I mean, that's useful, that will be useful in a future work environment as well.
An apprenticeship or an internship, because you'll train them as to how to do it, and
Yes,
it's
I will.
used for other people. So somebody
Yes,
may
they don't need to have the skill already. If they have an interest, I can teach them and guide them and give them feedback sessions when they do it, so that they get better and better as they go, and their skill set can deepen. So um, it's a good opportunity if somebody wants to volunteer and get some of their bright future hours knocked away. We'll keep track of those as well, and give them credit for them. And it'd be immensely helpful for us because inevitably somebody asks a question. I'm like, oh, we did talk about that, but that was in, oh, which podcast was that in? And then I have to go back and look, and then I can't find it because we kind of hit multi subjects in a lot of our podcasts, so it's hard. And then the title is one thing, but it might have been 30 minutes in on that particular one. I just didn't put it in the title, and I was like, oh man. So if we could get those day of or week of at least cut up and reposted, that'd be immensely helpful. So yeah,
a student, it could be a mom or dad who has a skill that they'd
that's
like.
true. If
So,
you just want to volunteer, and you don't need the Bright Futures hours.
yeah.
At that point. But yeah, if you just want to volunteer, that's a very real need that we have in terms of this. So it's really, really useful, especially getting closer to a session. I know that we did some videos, and I plan to do those again this year, where this coming session, where in the committees, as everyone spoke, I would kind of take it and break out the parts that were where we were representing the home education community in some of the conversations, and or the legislators would make comments that pertained to what we were working on, and because those are like 3 or 4 hour meetings, videos on the Florida channel, and I would pull out the snippets from those and repost them online so that people who are following us can keep up with what's happening a little easier. And I plan to do that again, but it will be a lot of work. So if there's anyone who's interested in video work and skill sets that pertain to that, like by all means, reach out to us, info@flhef.org, or jason@flhef.org, and have them send me an email, and I will connect with them. And I have a whole system we'll use to kind of run the projects and things like that. I just need the help. So, well, I said it was going to be shorter, and we're at 12:30. So, what were you about to say?
I was just going to say we might mention that Jason is not full time with us yet. He still has other companies that he's working with and projects he's working on. So, this becomes the Home Education Foundation, the lobbying becomes a all consuming job, and you have to work other things around to support your family. So, any volunteer help that we can get would just
matters. Yeah, it's big. Thank you for mentioning that. That is true. Another part of the unseen back end.
what you volunteered for.
Yep. Hey, I'm here regardless. Either way, we're here.
Really?
Yeah. So, well, I'm going to let you get back to taking care of family, and we're going to let everyone get back to the start of their holiday week. And we wish you guys all the best. We want to say thank you to our top sponsors one more time. Thank you to Arete, FPEA, and Fisher Precious Metals. We're so thankful. We have, I think we have one more that we're going to be adding to that list soon, once I'm able to kind of make contact and see if they want to be listed. But yeah, we're very thankful for all our supporters, and we hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving week. Eat lots of turkey, take lots of naps, and make lots of memories.